Breaking news, breaking news, breaking peoples. There was a lot of I told you so today. Absolutely everything I presented yesterday came to 100% fruition today for anyone who watched UNSC or at least read the report that just came out 20 minutes ago, as well as the explosive American Indian news of probably many years. Kristi Noem was skidded out of the head of Homeland Security and in place. She was doing border security, ICE, all of that through Homeland Security, of course. She was ousted, and in her place is absolutely Senator Mullins, Oklahoma American Indian, Cherokee Indian Senator Mullins, who's fought for American Indian rights. He's out of what are called the 6 American Indian states that have absolute we the people courts. He's fought for the buffalo, for tribal access to regrow buffalo herds and cultivate that. He's done lots for American Indian rights, American Indian gun rights, Second Amendment, bringing firearms to the reservations, all of it. He's now head of Homeland Security after the critical minerals announcement and the Great Lakes and all of that. USA wishes to pursue with who? The numbered Treaty Indians of Canada. Not Canada, not listed at all. It's an I told you so, and this is really for all First Peoples, absolutely American Indians who enjoy all those rights in America, but are absolutely blocked at the Canadian border. They are immediately terminated as American Indian citizens since 1956, arbitrarily by Canada. They said, hey, we can scrap any American USA treaties over any savage Indian we want. We're the socialist and fascist crown. We own these people. But we don't define them as human beings. We define them as savages. And no red-skinned Indian from America comes here thinking they get rights as American Indians here. That's scrapped. You're a savage. And if you ever want to cross that border, you will take pure 100% assimilation. And of course, American Indians don't do that, folks. Well, now guess what Mark Carney faces? He faces the head of Homeland Security, Mark Wayne, Senator Mullins, Mark Wayne Mullins, Cherokee Indian Senator in Oklahoma, federal senator, now head of Homeland Security, head of ICE, head of border security. What do you think's going to happen to Mark Carney and all your first ministers here in Canada, everybody? What do you think the Canada 51st state's going to be? Especially after what Donald J. Trump's proposing for Greenland, the Inuit, the ICC, Inuit Circumferential Council peoples. There's a USA, a Canada, Russia. There's the Denmark over Greenland. Trump's going through all of it. And they're not racist, folks. And Republicans have done all the Indian file work. Self-determination, self-government. Indian equal citizenship as Indian citizens. Nations within the nations. Codify your own constitution for your reservations. And those Western states who are the first at it have the most land releases. Canada's total Indian populations and all reserves, all peoples narrated by Canada, are only 1/20th of what those American Indians have. You can see their land from outer space. Some of those states, they're more than half of the state in private property, Indian reserve private property. And now you got the biggest champion in the U.S. running border security, running ICE, taking the Jay Treaty, because, folks, as I told you, And I'm sorry Canadian First Peoples don't get it, or they do, they're just lying as the Indian Act system, crown chiefs, so to speak. We're going to be dealing with an American Indian now, a real one, a real fighter, a real one who knows Indian sovereignty, Indian civil rights. He's the master. And now he runs the border security. He runs the ICE. He runs all of it. And all international. He's going to be dealing with Greenland. He's going to be dealing with the Arctic. He's going to be dealing with Canada and the First Peoples. The days of Mark Carney and his racist first ministers, socialist and fascist, are coming to an end. As I told you, it's an I told you so. If you missed today's USA hosted energy, critical minerals, and security event, guess who's not there? Canada. But now you got a new border master. You've got a new Arctic master. You've got a new Homeland Security master who's an American Indian who gets all of it. And he knows what Canada is. Can you imagine now? Can you imagine every premier? Mark Carney? Your immigration programs, your border agencies, and how you deal with American Indians is coming to an end. Canada's coming to an end. I've told First Peoples you should start preparing to negotiate with the Trump administration like American Indians do. Because they do well year after year. It doesn't even matter who's president. These laws in the USA are all passed. It takes a 2/3 majority to change them. In both House and Senate USA. Good luck with that. Or you get a whopping majority of the 50 states of the Union. That's never happened before. So those laws are going to stay for a very, very long time. Donald J. Trump ain't fucking around. Fuck around, find out. That's Mark Carney. That's why he flip-flops like a windshield wiper. Oh no, now we might be prepared to join USA. Just don't destroy our border. Don't destroy all the treaties. Don't destroy the crown. It's too late, folks. July is coming. I've got a couple hundred emails done yesterday. Tonight I'll be right back at it for several hours. Get a few hundred more. It'll probably take me all the way through the weekend. I finished off February 2nd, I think 3rd, some of the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd. New people coming on. I won't answer any new emails until I've gone through the list in reverse chronological, so don't panic. Everybody, if you haven't got an email yet, I'm almost, I think about a little under a quarter of the way through. So it's definitely 4 days. Weekend will be better. And we'll get all that done. We'll get that petition in. But folks, Canada, the 51st state, could very well be a case of an issue of Indian sovereignty, USA negotiating, the loss of Crown lands, provincial and federal, and then USA negotiating that with the First Peoples, the Canada, the 51st state. And we'll be left in our very limited private property without any real access meaningful to any of the Crown land resources that Canada says is theirs. Even they have no way to defend those positions or ensure that those are actually theirs. It's just, I say it is because it is. Well, Trump don't give a shit. And if you haven't been paying attention to Iran, they've destroyed police stations, critical infrastructure, the regime, the Navy, air bases, all of it. Iran's just about to dust on any kind of offensive strategy coming within the weeks. There'll be nothing left of any offensive. And in fact, it'll be left up to the people to take charge. That's what he's doing. He's not stopping. And let this be a lesson to you. Everybody, if you watch UNSC today, Canada is not mentioned there at all. the greater Great Lakes, that's mentioned. And that's largely unceded or tribal territory of named and numbered Treaty Indian peoples of Canada that largely have been unceded in the province of Ontario in a lot of those areas. And Trump now has an American Indian at the helm, at the border, at the Arctic. It's Homeland Security. Learn what that is. Racist Mark Carney and his 10 racist premiers are finished. They're finished. I don't know how provincial PNP programs are going to work. I don't know how federal immigration is going to work in Canada and the borders in USA. I doubt it. I think it really is by this summer going to be finito for Canada in any real sense of the word. Even Russia, which I didn't have that in my email yesterday, but that's because USA isn't dealing with Russia. But Russia has responded to the 50-50 Ukraine deal. That was released extra today publicly. That wasn't given to me in email because I guess USA hasn't negotiated that with Russia. But Russia's offering, oh, no, we'll replace all these critical minerals, oil, natural gas to you, USA. And it's a fraction. Either way, it's a fraction of the cost. Canada could deal with USA without all of us working for 50 cents an hour, which our Crown would be happy with that. Canadians working for third world rates, living in first world expenses to the maximum of the G7, right? That nobody can afford, but it's okay. Families living in families like, Coffin City, Hong Kong, right? Where 4 families live in a 1-bedroom, 300 square foot apartment. And 4 families have to share 1 bathroom. You do your dishes in the bathroom too, in the shower. And there's no tub, right? You all live in your little coffin corners, families stacked on top of families. If you think this is out of the realm of fiction or fantasy, you're wrong. This is the entire idea of the Constitutional Acts of Canada introduced to you in the opening introduction of those acts. We will be modeled after the United Kingdom. That's what we do. And that's our private property. So, you know what? President Trump administration now goes, okay, Canadians, you love your crown. You want that. You love your Constitution. You love your socialism and fascism. Live like the UK, because that's all the private property you have, 41 million Canadians. And you say this crown land is an entitlement of your crown. Says who? With what army do you say that? Right? And that's coming. That's clearly coming. Kristi Noem out, breaking news, just about 20 minutes ago. And Markwayne Mullins in. Cherokee, Oklahoma Senator, Oklahoma Indian State Senator. And if you don't know what that means, I'm sorry. I've taught a lot of people a lot of stuff. That's part of the 6 Indian states of the United States of America. If you ever look at any of those states, you'll know why. And how no Canadian first person or Canadian knows this is beyond me, but that's the state of propaganda and deep-seated institutionalization. Don't let them see it. Don't let them learn it. Keep them in the dark. Keep them blind. And they started that. Again, conservatives did that with liberal support. Both parties full bore. 1956. And the Jay Treaty. Don't let those fucking American Indian citizens infect any of the First Peoples. We have to genocide them. We have to keep it going. We can't allow those American Indians to influence them and tell them the truth, especially those American Indian states. I knew stuff was up. Trump's now coming very transparent. They kept a lid on a lot of stuff, but now it makes sense why Montana's border ice services were so greatly expanded of all places in Canada. As I zing through again, to the as tour, southern states up to the north, all border crossings right across, finishing off in Montana. No, I didn't go the land route of BC. There's a couple there I could have, but definitely Alberta, massive expansion. So there's a lot going on, and I think Canadians are going to be shocked at the idea of Canada, the 51st state, the hardest way possible, the Indian way. And that's what it's looking like, folks. Hate to say it, but that's the truth. That's what you get with your elbows up. It's going to be ass in the air, and you're going to get fucked. And I hate to say it like that, but that's the truth. God bless, folks. Share the video. It's explosive, breaking. I'm going to share it into what First Nations groups I have, and it's up to them to share it and then look into it, because that's truth, that's reality. America's coming, and they're coming via the Indian way. No joke. God bless. Bye now.